Welcome to Meldon Law and Friends. I am Jeffrey Meldon, founder and attorney at Meldon Law, and we're excited that the school year's back in Gainesville, that Marion County is blowing up. We're in a good way, right? With World Equestrian Center, our favorite new golf course, Adena. There, Lake City is really doing fabulous, and we're opening a new office in Williston, Florida, to serve North Central Florida. So come by and join us. We're right across the street from Hitchcock's in Williston. A lot of stuff going on. Some of you may have heard that the Gators got beat badly by Miami. It's true. The U kicked the butts of the Gators, and for those of you that are just mildly interested in sports, you probably heard about it because it was a big deal. For those of you that are involved in following sports, it's kind of the end of the world. However, I have inside information, and the prognosticators tell me the world will go on, and that someday the Gators will get back to football glory. Bunch of other things going on. So Meldon Law has been doing some terrific renovations to our website. The website is meldonlaw.com. Many years ago, I wrote a book on what to do if you were involved in an accident. The title of the book was 7 Mistakes That Can Wreck Your Florida Accident Case. And it basically is an outline of what to do if you have an accident and you want to make sure you don't screw things up. So we have the book available for free. It's always been free. It's a consumer guide. It's easy to read. However, if you're in an accident and you want it right away, all you have to do is go to our website, meldonlaw.com, and right at the top of the homepage, you'll see a little place to click for guides. And there's 2 guides. One is how to buy Florida auto insurance, which is very important if you are not involved in an accident with injuries. That's for everybody to read right now. Very, very important, because in the state of Florida, you absolutely need to get uninsured motorist coverage. Some of you have heard the term but don't know exactly what it covers. The bottom line is Florida is the only state where people can drive around without any insurance to protect you. For injuries you suffered, medical bills, out-of-pocket expenses, property damage in excess of $10,000, which happens all the time. And it's important to make sure that your insurance policy has gap insurance if you have a loan or even a lease. You don't want to be upside down on your vehicle. Also, you need to get medical payments coverage, and make sure that you have enough liability coverage so in the event you make a mistake and you're involved in an accident, you don't have to worry about all of your assets being taken away. The only thing that's protected under Florida law is your home and a car. So you don't want to lose all your life's savings and hard work. So make sure that you take a look at our book, Buying Florida Auto Insurance. And then in the event you're in an accident, you can download 7 Mistakes That Can Wreck Your Florida Accident Case. They're free. They're consumer guides. They're really easy to understand and read. So we encourage you, again, go to the homepage of meldonlaw.com. Look up at the top, and you'll see a button there you click on, and then you'll get the books for free. You can either have them, the copy, we'll be glad to send them to you, or you can just right away get a PDF version instantaneously. Other things going on. Life goes on. The University of Florida has another football game September 7th at 7 p.m. against Samford. We're going to be there for FanFest. Our FanFest had an incredible response for the Miami game. People were lined up to spin the Wheel of Fortune. We want to thank everybody who did show up, and it was a lot of fun. If you didn't show up, make it for the Samford game. I know that people are down in the dumps about the Gators losing. However, Samford will be a fun game, and I promise you we're going to win that game. Other things. Coastal Conservation Association annual banquet September 12th, and they're having it out at Legacy Park in Alachua. A very wonderful event. I've been there the last 2 or 3 years in a row. Really nice group of people out there, and if you like fishing, that's the place to be. It's a absolutely great organization, and they try to keep the fishing grounds on the coast of Florida, both coasts, very friendly for sport fishing, for recreational fishing, whatever you want to do. They are trying to keep the commercial fishermen from fishing the grounds to fishing them to the point where the sports fishermen can't catch any fish. So it's important because while the commercial fishermen want to make money, sometimes it comes into conflict with the goals of the recreational sport fishermen. I know my son Kerry went out fishing for Labor Day, had a great time, caught a lot of really terrific fish, threw some of them back in, kept some of them, and that won't happen if we don't help out folks like Coastal Conservation Association, CCA, 33rd annual banquet. It starts at 5:30 to 9:30 at Legacy Park, and it's meant to raise funds for the CCA. Their objective, to conserve, promote, and enhance the present and future availability of the coastal resources in Florida for the general public's benefit and enjoyment. So let's support them. A couple other things. Film festival for those folks that are Latin origin or speak Spanish primarily. The Latino Women's League from September 12th to September 29th are going to have tremendous movies available for free, and musical artists, both Bo Diddley Plaza, as well as other places around the city of Gainesville. It looks like it's going for 18 days. But anyhow, the Latina Women's League.org. That's how you find the information. Volleyball, the Lady Gator volleyball team is in the top 10 in the country, and they are hot. So let's support them. The UF-FSU game is coming to Gainesville Tuesday, the 17th of September at 7 p.m. If you want free tickets, head over to our Facebook or Instagram page for your chance to win. We constantly have ticket giveaways, and I think you will really enjoy them, whether it's basketball, gymnastics, baseball, softball, volleyball. We are giving away tickets as the only official injury law firm partner of the Florida Gators. We get to score all these wonderful tickets and turn around and give them out to our fans. So thank you very much. Finally, we've got the annual Williston Fiesta, September 21st, from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Homestead Park in Williston. I've been out there. It's really kind of a fun place to have a party. There's food, arts, crafts, Zumba classes. There's going to be lots of music out there. So that's Saturday, September 21st, from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m., Homestead Park in Williston. So that's it. We're going to take a short break on Meldon Law and Friends and come back with some terrific guests for you to listen to and learn from.
Jeffrey, what are you doing?
Well, I'm joining the band, of course. Since Meldon Law is the official law firm partner of the Florida Gators, I want to help.
Dad, we're litigators. Let's stick to helping people in the courtroom.
Well, can we still hang out and jam a little bit?
At Meldon Law, we won't back down.
I was going down a one-way street and a girl that was driving her car T-boned me on my scooter. I ended up going for an MRI and discovering that I had 2 herniated discs. Coming to Cary allowed me to not have to worry about what doctor I was going to see or what physical therapist I had to go to. They say, these are the people we trust. You're going to have a great experience there. And I honestly did each time.
Call Meldon Law. Your consultation is absolutely free.
Albert, Alberta, I understand you were witnesses to a crash. Can you tell us about the accident? When you're in a crash, it's important to get witness statements immediately after the accident. Whether you're in a car, truck, motorcycle, scooter, or even a golf cart accident, at Meldon Law, we won't back down.
And I was in an accident. Someone ran a red light and hit me, and I was hurt. You don't know where to turn. Luckily, I called Jeffrey. These big insurance companies, they don't want you to win. They truly don't. But Jeffrey and his firm and the people that work here, they just really fight for you. You call the law offices of Jeffrey Meldon because you're going to need help, and they will help you.
Call Meldon Law right now.
Hey, Sammy, look who's there. Say hi.
Hey!
You again!
Meldon Law, Jeffrey speaking.
Jeffrey!
Somebody else hit us here.
Here we go again.
After the car accident, your personal life takes a toll when you have major injuries. Being a mother of 3 kids, having to work, it became overwhelming. Didn't know what was going to be my outcome at Meldon Law. Actually, they went above and beyond.
At Meldon Law, we're not just your legal team, we're your support system. You do not have to go through this alone. At Meldon Law, we won't back down.
Welcome back to Meldon Law and Friends. I'm Jeffrey Meldon, your host and founder at Meldon Law, as well as an attorney, and we're having a wonderful time here at Meldon Law and Friends. The year is coming back in full swing. We've had Labor Day, and that traditionally was the start of the new year. For many people, it's when I grew up, we started going to school after Labor Day, and everything kind of started back full force. And in Gainesville, Florida, we had our first football game on Labor Day weekend. Even though the result was a little weak, it did get the town rocking and rolling. And we have a wonderful guest here on Meldon Law and Friends, my good friend, Dakota Wheats, also known as Dakota the Ally. Welcome, Dakota.
Hey,
it's great to have you on the show.
Thank you so much. I love your energy. I will tell you, my heart's racing a little bit. This is the first time pretty much that I've been on this side of the camera.
So for those of you that don't know, Dakota is a photojournalist, and his specialty. We'll get into more detail, but basically it's helping people tell their story, their life story. And it's very interesting because I didn't know that Dakota hadn't been on this side until just a minute ago.
Yeah, I feel like I'm already understanding like how people are communicating. They feel like, oh, this big light and camera. I'm like, you'll be all right. It's like, well, put your money where your mouth is. Like, here I am.
Well, we are here at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in the podcast room, which is really cool to have, isn't it?
It is. It's cool. I'll go ahead and lead with, the perfect segue here. Gainesville isn't a place that I grew up around, even though I grew up in Jacksonville. I will say that I had some family that were Gator fans, so I was like, kind of just adopted it a little bit. And then Tebow happened. And so I was really into it. And at the time, my favorite team was the Broncos. Then he gets drafted by the Broncos. And I'm like, this is cool. So I kind of always had, definitely always had an affinity towards Tim. But wildly, how I do what I do today is because of Tim and his foundation and the people that he has, assembled and worked with.
Well, you haven't had a chance to see the museum here at Spurrier's yet.
I haven't.
I'm going to, after this show, I'm going to take you around and show you, but a lot of Tim Tebow's memorabilia is here. Heisman Trophy, the Heisman Trophy that Spurrier won is here at the restaurant. It's a museum and a restaurant, so we always give a plug to them. And Tebow is a big part of it. There's been, 3 Heisman Trophy winners, Steve Spurrier, Danny Warfel, and the most famous currently is probably Tim Tebow. And it's kind of exciting that, we are here where history is saved. And, that's kind of what you do. Let's talk about
things that we believe
how
in.
you got involved with Tebow and how it kind of brought you around to where you are now.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. So I'll try not to spend too much time on my pretexts. I have a tendency to do that because I'm a storyteller and I want to write the whole book, but I'll try to keep it concise. But I was a dog walker. That was what I did out of high school. I was an entrepreneur and loved it. Go ahead.
So how many dogs can you carry or take care of at
Right.
one time on the leashes?
So
what was the most?
I was known for this, for sure. I had the Batman utility belt with leashes just all around the utility belt. I was walking around like the sun and they were all my planets. So maybe let's just say 9.
That many?
Or 8,
Wow.
Or 8 because Pluto is apparently not a planet anymore. But yeah, so that's what I did. I had no real intention to do what I do today. I can look back now and say, we're all storytellers. I've always loved people. I loved dogs. I was trustworthy. That's why I was able to be successful at what I did. But I didn't see doing what I do today. In fact, I didn't see myself as a technical person. I was like, I don't know how to use a camera. I had that just that limiting belief at the time, that imposter even. So here's the segue to Tim. I was getting a college education only because it was free. And it wasn't free because I, quote unquote, earned it. It's because my mom earned it for me through her service in the military. And so it just seemed like the right thing to do, honorable thing to do, to respect getting a degree when I didn't have to go in debt to do so. So I was doing the college thing, doing the dog business, and had no intentions of using this degree. It's a degree in communications advertising, and no intention. I'm staying in the dog thing. I love what I do. I'm making what I need to make to live the lifestyle I want to live. My last class that I had to take in order to get a degree, which I could have done at any point, but waited to the last second for a reason. I'll tell you why, was the internship. Because I had zero intention.
An internship with who?
I had to choose, right? So, and it had to be a related field. So, advertising, okay, agencies. I waited to the last minute. My internship coordinator is like, you've already passed the deadline, but I love you, so I'm going to give you one last chance. I sent out some emails. I put my heart into them, and resonated with one that already had an intern. We're like, we like what you wrote. We're going to let you jump in. I didn't like it just as much as I anticipated. I'm like, I'm not going to try and do this. I have a business. I want to spend my time on that. I was writing web copy. They were like, you're being too creative. Like, we need it more simple. You're creative writing and we need it. And I was like, oh my gosh. Well, it just so happens that this agency was leasing some office space to a video team. That was a completely separate group. It's called Dorsey Media Group. He actually played for the Florida Gators. He's actually on the championship winning team. So shout out to Greg Dorsey and Dorsey Media Group, and Astoria is what he calls it now. I wouldn't be here today if it weren't for his mentorship and love for me. So just quick side note. So they're walking by me every day, and we're getting along and hitting it off. And I'm like, man, I want to be doing what they're doing more than what I'm doing. So about halfway through my hours on Central, I went in there to the person that was the lead agency, my internship coordinator. I was like, look, I'm not going to work here. You're not going to hire me. Just let me finish my hours with this video team. And that's what I did. And that's it. It's the story goes from there that I end up learning a little bit of video with my hours left. They offered to hire me for $15 an hour to train me, right? What a win. And there was still a little bit of like, I could make more money doing this and that with the dog business, but something was calling me, and for me it's God, that like this is where you're meant to go. His biggest client was the Tim Tebow Foundation.
Wow.
So
and that's how you got started.
And you know what's so beautiful? To just start with no other, I didn't have to grind through things that weren't Tim Tebow Foundation. I didn't create any habits, good or bad, around anything other than they were my training ground. That's where I learned everything I know, and I'm so grateful for that, because it really was the concrete and the rebar and the foundation of how I perceive what I do now. And what that is Tim Tebow Foundation, the number of outreaches they have, the number of initiatives they have, is so broad that it defies like what a lot of people say. If you do everything, you do nothing. That's not the case. They make it happen. And so I'm traveling with the foundation and the people, meeting all of the people that they impact, seeing all the need, and just, half the time I don't remember. Half the time I couldn't tell if I was in focus or not, because I'm bawling. I'm bawling over the people I'm meeting and the stories they're telling, and just the need. And so my life is being changed. I'm being just wrecked. My heart is being wrecked, and my passion for people is just being exponentialized. And then it hits me, and this is what I would say. Why work with Dakota today? This is one of the big reasons it hit me. I was so impacted, but on the plane ride home and the meditation that happens and the rest that happens when I got home, I just felt this, and still to this day feel this overwhelming responsibility to translate that like most people aren't getting this opportunity to be here with Tim, with his foundation, in these places, hearing these stories, seeing them do it for real, not questioning. We all are skeptical, especially these days, like, oh, foundations are tax shelters and such and such. If we don't have somebody really effectively, compellingly translating that, we'll continue to have that, that negative view. And so I would come home and I'd be like, wow, I have a responsibility. I need to honor this. I need to try to translate the impact that I felt, the tears that I spilled. I need to try to translate that into a medium that brings that same impact to others.
So Dakota, I wanted to provide our viewing audience and listening audience a quick 3-minute video that the Tim Tebow Foundation put together, so they can understand some of the inspiration that you had. So
this was produced. This video was filmed and produced by me and my collaborators.
That's awesome. So let's roll with it and see what y'all get from it. I think you'll be very impressed.
Thanks, Jeff.
There are some things that we believe in that we just won't back down for. Our team was together and we sat down and we were talking. talking, we're having deep conversations, and we started to talk about who are we? Who are we as a foundation? You know, like not just our mission statement, but really who are we? And we came up with some non-negotiables. Exactly who we are and what TTF is all about. And I want to share those non-negotiables with you. Number one, we're believers. We're believers in a big God. We're believers in people. And we're believers in change. So we believe in what we're doing. We believe in the cause. We believe in the mission. We are believers. Number two, second non-negotiable, everyone matters. We don't play God, we serve God. We don't get to choose. Yes, our mission statement is for people that can't fight for themselves. That's our goal, but every single person we meet on the way, they matter too. No matter what background, no matter what color, no matter what race, no matter what you've done in your past, you matter. That's part of who we are. We believe everyone matters. Number three is we're on a rescue mission. When you say rescue mission, it puts a time frame on it. Because if you've ever heard of a rescue mission where, we're on a rescue mission, but we're going to go for it, Chip, in 5 years. That's when we're going to... No, a rescue mission means now. It means we don't have time to waste. My goal tonight is to get you out of thinking from your perspective, but from their perspective, from Kiko's perspective, from Alexis's perspective, because it's not about your time, it's about theirs. And if you don't act, if we don't act, then no one gets to them. Number four, non-negotiable, there's power when we come together. And so at the Tim Tebow Foundation, we find partners that are great at what they do, that are great in Mexico and know the culture, that are great in Guatemala and know the culture, that are great in Haiti and know the culture. We partner with them. When we all step on that line, could you imagine the change we could create? How would there be a kid on the street? How would there be a kid hungry? How would there be someone without a home or without a family? I can't change the world, neither can you, but we can. When we can get more and more people to step on the line and be part of the team where it's not about the credit, it's about the mission, everything would change. And finally, the fifth non-negotiable is don't forget. You get caught up in the Mondays and the next things and the next things, and the next thing you know is 10 years before you've done something that matters. Don't forget the times when you were inspired to do something and you almost did it. And I'm saying do it. Do something that matters. Be part of something that matters. Why? Because people need it. They need us on that rescue mission. They need you. They need you.
Welcome back to Meldon. Start it again. Yeah, go ahead.
So I'll bring it back in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to Meldon Law and Friends. Wow, what a inspirational video, and I want to know how that whole experience with the Tim Tebow Foundation impacted your direction in life.
Love that. Thank you. And those are some of the notes I took. But first, I'd like to show that I do have the ability to let others talk, and I'd like to hear you just express to me what you felt.
Well, during my life, I've done certain things just because they were an opportunity that I saw. Most recently, becoming the first and only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators was a leap of faith because it wasn't in our budget. It was a lot of money. On the other hand, I figured, what's the worst that could happen? I could go broke, And so that's an example of, something that I did in the last, 5 years. In 1974, I took a leap of faith and bought this beautiful theater and turned it into a performing arts theater called the Great Southern Music Hall while I was practicing law and building a law firm at the same time. And I had no idea of what was going to happen there. However, some of my greatest memories and achievements took place because I took that leap of faith and did something. So I commend you for what you do, because without people that are willing to take the risk of doing something new, doing something different, giving back to people, the greatest joy that I get in life is helping other people. I always tell folks I'm one of the luckiest guys in the world because I get to go to work and help people put their lives back together after a serious accident. And they, we form strong bonds. We stay in touch, forever. And it's really rewarding work. So all of that, I think, fits into the ideas that Tim Tebow was talking about and what their foundation stands for, which is do something to help others, take a leap of faith. Don't worry about failure. I mean, you should make some reasonable appraisal of whether or not, there's some chance of success. But once you get past that hurdle, you just need to do things, and then, you see how it works out. And usually, if your instincts are right and it's for the right reasons, you will gain from it both within yourself and for your family and those around you.
Thank you for sharing your heart. I can say I feel this about you already. I know this about you already. I think you're definitely cut from a similar cloth as him. And I just want to know, what's in the water in Gainesville? Because you guys are game changers. So helping people, same cloth, bonds. Think about this. Going back to, you asked me, how did that impact me? When you film and edit and you're doing it a lot, you're doing it for an organization that is doing it repetitively, regularly. Video editing is already very repetitive and monotonous. Like when you're putting together a story, you're hearing the same things over and over. You're hearing the same song over and over. So imagine how impactful it is to you as a person to be just repetitively consuming that.
Yeah, it becomes a part of your soul.
And I'm willing to talk about this. A lot of people don't know this. I don't even know if everybody knows this at the foundation. I wasn't a Christian most of the time that I worked with them. And I hope they're okay me sharing that, because I am now because of them. And all of that soul contribution and that soul developing that you talked about. And just another way to really put a lot of love in their direction. They're not, none of them are not smart. I think there's people that knew, but I think that they saw enough, and they're true to their message. Like, it's about a faith journey, and we're we're not all where we're going yet. And here I am now, just so much because of them.
Well, let me ask you this: that when you started there, right? They didn't ask you or didn't tell you had to be a Christian to work there,
nope,
right?
They sure didn't. Didn't even ask.
Right. No.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, here's somebody that wants to help, right?
Yeah, you know what a lot of people want to know when I tell them that. So, by the way, I've always remained a freelancer, a W-9. I've never, so even though I worked with them for 4 or 5 years, it was always as a freelancer. But what a lot of people kind of want to know, Tim has been a mercurial guy. But despite being consistently a great person, still somehow, some way has been mercurial. So people want to know about that when they know that I spent a lot of time with him and his people and his family. He's the real deal. He's the real deal.
Well, mercurial to me has to do with his ability to, get upset when he sees something that he can help correct, right? And the famous speech, the promise speech that he gave,
And let me say this, by the way, I want to establish this. I am a very esoteric person. It's capital G God, it's G-O-D, good orderly design, it's universe, it's creator. Like my message as a human being is that we're all really trying to say the same thing. And that's really you want to ask me like what's a foundation of my brand and my identity and my business is that exact point is that I'm a multimedia translator. I'm a multimedia synthesizer. My life's mission is to connect us. And how do we do that? We synonymize. We find common ground. And we do it through words. Have you ever spent time, a lot of us don't even know the word etymology, right? Etymology is essentially, it traces back the meanings of words and how they change over time. Most people are shocked when they realize how many terms were created with one meaning and literally not only change meaning, but mean the opposite. Silly used to mean, now it means like not very smart, used to mean smart. There's all these words. So that is, I want to say that before I sound...
Dakota, I got to say it's on my mind. When I was in high school, I took 4 years of Latin. Okay, you talk about the etymology of words, right? It all goes back to Latin. I guess I'm so old that they didn't realize that Latin was a dead language and wasn't being used. But it was fun to take because I learned a lot as far as the origin of words. And, it was kind of similar.
I'm preaching to the choir, aren't I? You're a lawyer. Like, it all comes down to words, right? It really does at the end of the day, and to some degree. I easily get sidetracked because I'm passionate about a lot of things. But to bring it back, I don't want to speak Christianese. I don't want to push my beliefs on anybody. But story is story. And there's a story in the Bible where Jesus flips the tables, where he's willing to do what you just said, to stand up for what's right, to get up and do that speech, and sometimes to motivate with a little more umph, right?
Right. We don't want to have boring. So let's talk about
life stories.
Here you are. You're embracing what is going on with the Tim Tebow Foundation, getting involved in their video, getting involved with their storytelling, their production of events, all this stuff. And somehow you have morphed into being able to bring that same kind of talent and that same kind of creativity to folks in their homes who have wonderful families, and their story should be told. I want to hear that story.
Yeah. So I kind of wrote down a couple of things that Tim said in that video that really are like they're plug and play for me. Let me see here. I wrote a lot of notes. Everyone matters, right? That's one of the non-negotiables. And they fight for people who can't fight for themselves. Well, I bring life and preservation to stories that people can't themselves. That's a fight for those who can't fight for themselves. And a big part of the foundation was, in order to fight for those people, we had to bring their stories, right? We had to show the impact. We had to create a personal connection. We had to show that we're the real deal. So I don't do it necessarily in that layer, but I do it in this story layer where I want people to believe, and I'm not the only one. There's a million people out there. I'm just one of the many on this team that your story does matter. And I've worked with a lot of brands, right? Because to make ends meet, especially in some economic hardships, I've had to learn to do a lot of different multimedia, and I was doing small business stuff, right? I was helping small businesses make more money through advertisement. It's not my true passion, but it is still very similar. And let me tell you how many times I've been with people who are like, I want to do this, I have the money, blah, blah, blah. I just don't think I have a story. I just don't think I have anything to say. You can imagine, just from the few minutes that you've spent with me so far, you can imagine what I had to say to that. And so, yeah, everyone matters. He says in that video, from their perspective. From their perspective. You talked about a dead language. What is lost when we lose a language? There are just certain things that certain languages can produce a meaning from. We know there's no perfect translations all the time. So when that language dies, so too does an observation of this meaning of life, so too does that die. So translate that to these life stories. When you die without sharing your message and your perspective, there's a meaning about this world, this universe, this human experience that is lost. And not only for that, if you're not saying, oh, I don't care about the cosmic scale, fine, care about your family, care about the people that are gonna follow you, care about the people that you in a heartbeat would meet today if you could, but you can't because there's a law of physics that doesn't allow us to. They get to meet you. What would I spend? What would I spend today to speak to an ancestor? Priceless. What would I give today if my father and mother, I'm very grateful, are still alive. But what amount of money would I spend if they hadn't done their life story video?
Have they done their life story video?
We've recorded it all.
Okay, good.
And we continue. Like the luxury is I get to make a long one, a really long one for them, like multiple hours. But
well, let's talk about
Go ahead.
what you can do for the listeners and viewers here that are kind of inspired by, maybe that's something really important for our family. Let's
Perfect.
talk about the what you do and what the process is.
Perfect. So let me preface by saying I like to try to simplify, synonymize, show how sometimes we're missing opportunity when we're not fully consistent. It's okay. One of them is we all know and accept family photos, and we value them. This is not that much different. The way it's different is now I get to see you move, hear your voice, like actually remember the story. I'm not relying on the image to capture all of the memories. I actually have them. So that's my preface. So what I offer is just that. I come in similarly to a photographer who does family photos. The only difference is we sit down and we talk just like you and I are right now, a little differently because we're talking about your memories and your family and your life story and your legacy. Sometimes it's in the other room, but I have these little cue cards, life story cue cards, campfire cue cards. You know those like icebreaker conversation starters? If you've ever used those things, you'd be amazed how fast you don't stop talking about the prompt. How fast you move on into meaningful stuff.
As I understand it, you are able to capture the story from this person's perspective in the family, right? Talking about, growing up in their career or their experiences through life, what was meaningful to them. And the other thing that can be very, very important is they remember stories that their father or mother told them, and maybe their grandfather, grandmother. And so you're not only carrying the stories that the person doing the video had, but you're actually creating a legacy of family stories that are being retold.
Thank you for saying that. Do you want a side gig as an ambassador? You basically are by inviting me here today. Such an excellent point. I think one of the more complicated things is about this brand, this business, this economy of what I'm trying to do, and many others out there, truthfully, is just what you said. It's really for everyone else. And so they have to be the ones to consult me and find me and purchase it. The people who are supposed to be sitting down in front of the camera are the ones that understand, are almost at a phase in life where they're understanding this is what I need to do. But it's can be difficult to like spend money to like tell your own story. We have this resistance to gloating or that we're self-absorbed. You know what, man? One of the best. Sorry, I just talked to you like a dude. You said you're the hippie lawyer, so I'm throwing out. I'm not throwing out your honors. I'm throwing out dudes.
No. I want to. I aspire to be the dude.
Cool. You're a dude. Take it from the dude. One of the most impactful people in my life, once again, from the family tree of Tebow and Greg Dorsey, is Almond Gunter. And I don't want to get distracted, but I want to plug him as Kip. Kip's been on the show before.
Right, yeah.
He's kind of like a Kip in Jacksonville. Just the ultimate mentor, truly. Like you talk about the hero's journey and that sage that comes in and turns that zero to a hero. That's Almond Gunter. He says to me, he pounded this in my head. It's not bragging if it's true. Yeah, I won the Heisman. I'm not bragging. It's true. I accomplished that.
Well, and it's also how you say it, how often
you
you
say
say it, and you want to surround it with a lot of other meaningful accomplishments and stories, so that it's not just I
For
did
sure.
one thing in life.
For sure. But I will say this: it's subjective, and it's it's presented really like strongly. But I think it's just whatever you think is wrong about bragging about yourself, I contend that it's at least just as wrong to never tell the story.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I was talking to a famous journalist this past week. His name is Buddy Martin, and he's from Ocala. And he's written the biography of Steve Spurrier, Urban Meyer, Terry Bradshaw. I mean, Buddy's worked for the New York Daily News, and he's still writing. He's 86 years old, okay? And
Good. So you're telling me that that I'm not running out of time yet.
you're not running it. No, so Buddy calls me the other day. I'm on his show. He has a podcast as well. And so Buddy's saying, Jeffrey, I think I'm going to write my story. I said, well, Buddy, it's about time.
That's awesome.
And he says, well, why don't we write our stories together? And I said, sure, Buddy. I said, I'll let you, inspire me to, move forward on it. And I think the message that our listeners and viewers might get out of this is that, number one, there's a resource and that Dakota can help you put together an invaluable family story that will evaporate if you don't get it down sooner rather than later. How do the folks get a hold of you if they do want to, try to put together a video history from the perspective of one of the, living members of their family?
Do you mind if I take a quick detour before I answer that question?
Sure.
When I first met you, you said, this is something I want to do. And this was something you wanted to do well before you met me, and I, spilled my guts about it like a little puppy dog. But I'm really grateful for you, Jeff, for a lot of reasons, having me here today, etc. But you really do live and breathe the message I need to expand, that storytellers like me need to expand to get to be able to fulfill this quest, this mission. Because you told me when we first met, you understand how important that is, and you don't it didn't seem like, let me not tell you how you feel, but it didn't seem like you let this idea of self-righteousness or braggadociousness or whatever. It seems like to me that you didn't let that be some imposter to not do. You understand the importance of legacy and how it's actually selfless. It's not selfish, it's actually selfless. Because that exists when you're gone. You're not there to enjoy that. It's selfless. So I wanna just say that I'm so grateful. You're people who, like you, who feel that way are exactly the way that I'm hoping to encourage people to feel. So thank you for being an example of that.
Well, you're very welcome. I will say that as media has evolved, it's become easier and easier to create living stories using video versus just the written word, which is traditionally how stories were carried on. Particularly, 150 years ago, right? We didn't have photography just started in the 1800s. So when you think about it, you didn't have pictures of people. You had the written word, okay?
Sketches and paintings.
Sketches and maybe some paintings.
The original Snapchat filter.
Yeah. And so what I want to do is create a call to action for folks that are listening, because I really think this is important to be able to do, and folks need to know, what's step one? So what's step one if they want to put something together?
I'm going to continue to be an enigma. You ready for this? I call myself a multimedia specialist. What does that tell people? It says they think of multimedia, think of like photography, video, advertising. But let's take the word literally. Multimedia. Everything's a medium. Everything is a medium for communication. So you know what? What's your action step to reach me? Whatever freaking medium you want. You want to text me? Text me. You want to call me? Call me. I'll tell you when to stop. Email, text, call,
Okay,
Instagram.
well, let's tell everybody. Okay, so what's the name of the? No, wait. I'm going to ask the questions now, Dakota. Okay. So what's the name of the company?
Cool. Missed Moments Media.
Missed Moments Media. MISSED.
Yep.
Moments Media. Okay, and do you have a website?
It is under construction.
Under construction. And how do folks get a hold of you by phone or text?
Yep, go for it. 904-445-6691.
Okay.
And you can see all my work. I do have a portfolio. So you can see my work in my portfolio, and you can check out a little bit on my social media. So you want to know something fun?
Facebook or Instagram?
Yeah,
or?
Facebook and Instagram. Yeah.
Okay,
just
so,
Dakota the Ally for now.
So right now, if you go Dakota the Ally, ALLY, then either on Facebook or Instagram, you can see some of Dakota's works and get an idea of what valuable contribution you can make to your own family by putting something together.
Thank you, Jeff. On the topic of like closing deals, are we gonna do this life story thing together?
I think so.
I'm putting you on the spot, aren't I?
No. You know what? It's like my grandchildren were in town. I had my birthday this week, September 2nd. And my grandchildren, they live in the moment, so I don't sit there and bore them with stories about what happened 50 years ago or 60 years ago. We just live in the moment. And what I will tell you is that what I've experienced and certain other people experience is that when you're really excited about what you're doing and you're in the moment, I don't think so much about my legacy. I think more about what am I going to do today to make today great and exciting, and tomorrow. And we've got, we're going on a family, birthday vacation in 2 weeks to Cancun, Mexico. Right? We got the whole friggin' family's going to go and have a good time. And those are the kinds of moments that I think we would want to incorporate in the story. What happened on the trip. We haven't done the trip yet, but this summer, my wife Patricia and I traveled all over. Why do we travel all over? We're comfortable at home, right? But we're expanding our boundaries, and we're getting excited about seeing new things, and that's what
nutrition.
Keeps me. It's nutrition, yeah.
May I say that's a great segue to a point that I haven't made yet. Is we have a lot of levels, right, to make this affordable, and I want to democratize this as much as I can. I want to make it affordable for everyone, but there are levels just like anything else, and in the layers up, you provide home videos, you provide photos, you provide diaries. You've seen documentaries, you've seen movies. There's all of these things. So I wanna let you know that when we do it, any content you've already self-procured, we're gonna include that. It's gonna be, you're gonna have a Ken Burns documentary of your impact, not just you, but your impact.
Well, Ken Burns is the wonderful documentarian. He tells stories. He takes information that's out there, but he constructs it in such a way so it brings you in. And, I remember watching 7, 8, 9 hours long, his PBS documentaries. There was baseball, the Civil War.
Thomas Jefferson,
Ben Franklin, and
he's got a new one about the buffalo, the history of the buffalo in America, and just how important they are. And some others. Definitely check that one out.
Yeah, so Ken Burns is a great example of somebody who can document stories we've all heard, but bring them alive. And I think that's what Dakota's trying to do, is create stories that will live beyond yourself, They're great gifts for your children, your grandchildren, their children, as well as the family members that you have with you today. Because I know when I sit down and start telling stories, my children, they are all excited because they haven't heard all the stories about, what happened and, in the family and who did this and what happened and how did we get here. And, there's every single one of you listening or watching has an incredible story to tell, because you're here. And that's
true.
it. That's the criteria for having.
Isn't it miraculous that if one group of cells in your body stops performing their function, that we cease to exist? Yeah, it's a miracle. Do you just like you said, breathing is a story.
Well, I mean, I've had times in my life when I've tried to experience what it's like to look at humanity, from the outside. However, I think it's easier for me to digest one day at a time.
I like it. I agree. Are we close to our end? I hope not.
Yeah.
Oh, we are. Okay.
No. I mean, we're kind of like, here's the thing. What I really want to do is have you back again in, after I've done my documentary, and then we're going to talk about that. So my message to everybody is that Dakota, the ally, also, as I know him, Dakota Wheats, will do a wonderful job of documenting your history, your family's history, what you know about your family's history, and it's important. There's lots of different ways to do it. However, the most important thing is to make a commitment. When I was 49 years old, my commitment was I was going to be in better shape at age 50, and I went out and hired a personal trainer 3 days a week. And to this day, I still have a trainer 3 days a week, and I work out. And a lot of the reasons that I'm able to be vibrant as I grow older is because I put the effort in to making it happen. That's what you all need to do, is make the effort to make it happen, or else it won't happen.
Are you saying I should call myself a story trainer?
Maybe.
All right, Jeff. I know we're at the end. There's 3 things on my mind, and I won't let anything else come to mind. Do you mind if we get through those?
No.
Okay.
We're good.
So I'll just read directly my notes here. One of my first notes: promoting myself. I am fully willing to admit that I'm a hypocrite. I don't, it's like our parents, like, do as I say, not as I do. In this conversation, you've promoted me better than me, and better, subjective. But first of all, I want to say thank you. But also, I want to admit, that it's hard for me to do that. I feel for the people who are like, I don't want to talk about myself. I feel for that. I want those people to know that even though I'm strongly encouraging this, I relate to you. And that segues into one thing I want to rattle off. I want to read it because I liked the way I put it and I don't want to botch it. But there's a photo of me on my Instagram. I'm sitting in a black chair with 2 video cameras next to me, this tablet in my hand, and I'm across from someone I'm interviewing. And here's my caption. Seen here, the only place where I talk the least. If you can't tell, I talk a lot. I chased the chair on the front side of the camera for so long. I wanted my voice to be heard, but the universe just kept me stumbling into the chair behind the camera. I never knew active listening until I sat in the producer's chair. I never knew I could say more from that position, and I never knew my true identity until I ended up there. From this side, my voice is greater. So if you want to know why I'm the person you want to work with whatever gig you want to hire this multimedia specialist for, that's the heart I'm going to bring to it. That's the passion and the mission that I have. It's also why on this side of the camera, I'm talking so much. So sorry, Jeff. On that note, I want to say some things about how I do honor my story and my identity really quick. I'm going to read again because I think I've done a lot of impromptu. Let me just read these off, if you don't mind, Jeff.
I don't mind.
So we talked about etymology. Our names have etymology. Everything does. They're words too. So I have done the etymological research on each one of my names. And when you put those three individual name meanings together, which I'll share another time because it's a longer story, it means a sincere ally ready to serve. A lot of people don't know this, but Dakota means ally or friend. And it's the name that was agreed upon between the Dakota tribe, which at the time weren't considered the Dakota tribe. It was their word. They said, you guys are amazing. What's your word for friend? Because you're a friend, you're an ally. And they said Dakota. That's how they got that name. So that's why I'm Dakota the ally, giving you that little context. I want to share with you my quest, my vision, and my heartbeat. Because one big thing I learned from working with Tim as well is we need to stay on message, and we need to know. We need to be specific. We need to be specific. And in the courtroom, you need to be specific. So I know you know this. So my quest, some people call it mission. I like quest. Mission sounds a little too much like warfare. To prompt resonance through human, digital, and spiritual introduction. I'm not trying to control your message. I'm not trying to say something untrue. I'm not trying to mislead anyone. I never once in any of those videos with Tim did something edited in such a way that made him better than he was. I honored, and that's why I can't work with anyone that's not truly authentic, because my moral compass does not allow me to do that. I edit in such a way that honors, like you said earlier, that honors the spirit of what that person is letting me into. So that's my quest, my vision. My vision is honoring a renaissance of sincere expression, interactive performance, and panoramic play. Let's lower the stakes, man. Let's lower the stakes. Let's integrate these disciplines. Let's see how we're all saying the same thing. Let's express. Let's be willing to express ourselves, tell our stories, say things that maybe no one else is willing to say. So it's my vision for the world. That's the impact I want to have. And my heartbeat is the etymological meaning of my name. How cool is that? My heartbeat is to be a sincere ally that's ready to serve, right? Through the story that already existed, that my parents didn't know what my names meant. This is all new to them. They didn't know what Dakota meant. My mom, I think it was like not Donnie Marie, it was like somebody's celebrity's son or daughter. That's Dakota, right? And she had no idea. But here I am today, sitting here, and the meaning of my three names, including my surname, my given first name was Lonnie, and that means ready for challenge. My middle name is actually Dakota. My dad and I share the first name, so that's why I'm Dakota, is ally, friend. And Wheats stands for wisdom, right? Wise, clever. So you combine those together, I'm a sincere ally ready to serve. And it's so weird that my name was given to me that way. And here I am today. I didn't know that until I was 25, 26, and I've been that the whole time. There's just so much beauty in our story where we don't know, where we don't see it. We don't see it yet. If we look for it, it's there. And I don't know what your spiritual beliefs, your cosmic beliefs, they can all be a complete range and a spectrum, but I'm pretty sure if you take what I just said, it'll probably apply to whatever realm. So yeah, so to close it out and to stay on topic, the way you've helped me stay on topic, yeah, this is what I do. I faithfully record the forever stories of everyday people, of everyday lives.
Well, let's one more time, our call to action. How do the folks get a hold of you if they have been inspired by our talk today about how to create an invaluable treasure for your family?
Let's go with give me a call, shoot me a text. I want it to be easy for everyone.
Okay,
so one more time.
Give them the number again.
904-445-6691. And if you just want my email, say, hey, what's your email? I'll shoot you my email.
Anyhow, it's Dakota, the ally, and call or text Dakota, and he will lay out what the opportunities are. I would encourage everybody to do something, whatever it is. Hopefully you'll call Dakota, but even if it's sitting down and just starting to write out your story, I would really encourage that, because I think it's important for us to keep the history of our family going, just the way very famous people. The history's been written about them. Well, your family's just as important as theirs. So think about that for a while. It's like, our founding fathers, they were great men and all that, but there were a lot of other people that were great people, women, men, whose stories aren't being told. And it's time for us to take action. So give Dakota a call. I want to thank you very much, Dakota, for coming on the show.
Jeff, thank you so much.
And,
I'm so glad that we're connected.
And then after we do my story, we'll come back on and we'll talk about what the process was like.
I love that. Thank you.
Okay?
I love that. Maybe
I
you
think,
can keep me more on focus, huh?
I'm used to that.
Let me actually finish this way. I told Jeff at the beginning, and this is completely true. It happens all the time. I have like the best goalie save for getting off topic because what I do is storytelling. So all I get to say is at the end, I always have the goalie save of, hey, now you see how passionate I am about story.
Well, that's going to be a wrap for Meldon Law and Friends. Our good friend Dakota, the ally, Wheats, here to share his very, very important service, which is helping preserve history for your family. So thank you very much for being our guest, and we'll see you next week on Meldon Law and Friends.